Welcome back, guys. Or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous. That's the 2026 Nissan Frontier. But more specifically, this is the Pro4X, so it's the most off-road capable version of Nissan's midsize pickup truck. And it's in one of my favorite Nissan colors, named Boulder Gray Pearl. It looks fantastic in person, and the color seems to change depending on what kind of light it's in. But while this is one of the most interesting and last V6 offered in a midsize pickup truck, it's not perfect. So today I get to share the good, the bad, and the ugly about the 2026 Nissan Frontier to help you guys at home decide if it might be the right truck for you, so you can expect to see a walk around. All the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 on GPS, and then my final thoughts. And huge thanks to Rob Green in Southern Idaho. I'll link them below if you're interested because they sell well below MSRP. They ship all over the country, but also huge thanks to our channel sponsor, Lasfit, but more on them in just a few minutes. Let's dive right into this review. And thank you so much for watching car videos on YouTube today. But if you get anything out of this video, you like the Pro4X Frontier, or you just appreciate the effort it took to make this video, please consider liking it, comment your thoughts and opinions below, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. But if you're new to Nissan, or the Nissan Frontier, there's actually a few really cool things that you should probably know. Nissan is a Japanese automaker, and they're actually one of the oldest. They're founded in 1933, but it wasn't until the 1997 model year that the very first Nissan Frontier rolled off the assembly line. Back then, that first generation was what you call a compact truck. They were tiny, kind of like the first generation of Toyota Tacoma. It wasn't until the second, and now this third generation, that they are full-on mid-size trucks. They're bigger, they're badder than ever, and for 2026, there haven't been any substantial changes over last year. Last year, these did have a mid-generational refresh, and the good-looking Frontier became an even better-looking Frontier. These sell about 50 to 70,000 units every single year in the United States market. They are assembled in the United States, which is pretty cool, and a base model starts at about $32,000. There are actually 6 trim levels, this being the short bed Pro4X. It's the 5th highest trim level. It starts at about $42,000, but this one's loaded. It has a bunch of options. Now at MSRPs after destination and delivery for about $49,000. But for the 2026 model year, before you even reference Automotive Anonymous to Rob Green, they're already offering over $4,000 off. So for about $45,000, what do you get on your Nissan Frontier? You get a vehicle that has not yet been crash test rated for the new 2026 model year, and I'm not surprised because as of filming this today, it is only October, but if we look at the last couple years, we can probably expect the same crash test rating, a good overall rating, and then I'll overlay on the screen some of the safety features that Nissan advertises that this has. But beyond all that, for about $45,000 after discount, you get a heated leather-wrapped steering wheel, which actually gets really hot, as do the powered heated leather seats in the front. You also have a small sunroof, a sliding glass window in the back, a bed liner, 31.5-inch tires, really good looking 17-inch wheels, and a 310 horsepower V6 engine, in addition to a bunch of other stuff that you'll just have to wait to see throughout this video. Keep in mind that this configuration is likely the most popular. It's the 4-door with the short bed, but in the Frontier lineup you can also get an access cab with a longer bed, or now you can even get the 6-foot bed with the full 4-door. But for this configuration, it drives really well. It's stable at highway and interstate speeds. It's about the same size as every other midsize truck, so it's pretty easy to drive, pretty easy to park, and overall this one is about 17.5 feet long. The wheelbase is about 10.5 feet, so it's very planted and stable on the road, especially where it's about 6 feet wide and roughly 6 feet tall with this Pro4X suspension. But because of that suspension, the payload capacity is a little bit less than you would receive on more of a lower trim level, more like a work truck. It's only 1,040 pounds. This can still tow about 7,100 pounds, and it itself weighs about 4,400 to 4,800 pounds, again depending on all those configurations. It does have about 9 to 9.5 inches of ground clearance, depending from the lowest to the higher points underneath the body. It has a 3.69 final axle ratio, and it can do a full circle at around 46 feet. The last couple things to mention out here is the gas door is located on the driver's side, which is where I like it to be. But even when you lock the vehicle, the gas door doesn't lock, so the bumps might attempt to siphon some of your 21.2 gallons of gas. The way this Pro4X is rated, it can get up to about 18 city, 22 on the highway, so your max road trip and range is around 460 miles. And then it has a square stance all around. It's a 265/70/17. It's a Dynapro AT2 that has around 9 to 10 30-seconds of tread. In person, it looks awesome. I really like this wheel tire combination. And this is your key. You have remote start, you have lock, you have unlock, and you have panic button. But on the Pro4X, you can leave that thing in your pocket because you do have proximity key features right there to lock and unlock the vehicle. Let's thank today's channel sponsor, Lasfit. If you haven't heard of them, they are a company that makes very high-end LED upgrades for your vehicles to replace all the incandescent and halogen lights, but they're also known for making some of the best floor mats in the business. And while the factory floor mats on this vehicle and every other vehicle, they're okay-ish, they don't really have a lot of surface area. They usually don't even cover the dead pedal like this. They don't cover a lot below the brake and the gas pedal, and then they're very floppy and flimsy, and there's no lip around the edge to really hold messes in place, so when you do have to take it out and clean it off, you're likely to spill it on the actual carpet when you pull it out. But if you check out Lasfit, today's sponsor, not only are their products far superior, but they have a huge lip. They're also affordably priced. Before my discount code of AA20, a set of all-weather mats for the front and the back on this Frontier is about $140. With the bed mat, it's about $130. But take 20% off with code AA20, and now you're paying only a little bit over $100 for mats in the front and a bed mat separately. If you are interested in that, I will link them below. Thank you so much, Lasfit, for sponsoring today's video. But I do have to say that the door panel for the driver's side opens up pretty wide. You can tell that this vehicle has a lot of ground clearance. Remember, the rated number is from the bottom of the frame or the axles, basically the lowest point. But to actually step up and get onto the seat of this, it's actually one of the highest mid-size trucks that I've ever been in, almost as high as a full-size. It's just a few inches below my hip. And then you have rubberized brake gas. You even have an old kick e-brake. These are the options that you have. Traction off, and the rear locker is some of my favorite. Hood release, I don't see, oh, there it is. There's an advertised knee airbag. One of the things that every mid-size truck should have, but a lot of them actually don't. A few more options right here. You can see we're only missing a few options. And then this has ventilation, lighting stock, turn signal, tilt and telescoping wheel. It is leather wrapped. The heated feature actually gets really hot. And then this is the seat. It is leather heated. There's not a lot of lateral bolstering, so if you're an average build, you might slide around a little bit, but that means it's a comfortable seat. And then you have Pro4X stamped in and a sunroof up top. The interior of this truck actually feels really good. I love that you have a little bit of a cutout, kind of like what Ford has done with the F-150. Whether you want to have your arm up top or down below, honestly, it's pretty comfortable. Everything is easy to reach, easy to access. The push button is kind of hidden right back there. Fires right up. The V6 roars to life. The needles do a little theatrical dance, and you can see a Frontier popping out on the infotainment screen. You actually have a lot of controls that you can go through on the infotainment screen and the big screen right here. I'm going to turn down the HVAC just a little bit. But some of my favorite things are that this has physical HVAC controls. You also have a button to turn off auto start stop if you don't like that. You have the switch on the fly 4-wheel drive options right here. You have some plugins. There are your heated options down there. Some more plugins, a 12 volt, lots of storage. You can go over from drive, play musical gears, or you can check out the 360-degree camera in reverse. The clarity is not fantastic, but honestly, you see every single thing that you need to. Those are your drive modes, cup holders, wireless charger, pretty decent center console, and then up top you can even store some sunglasses, turn on the lights. There's your small sedan size sunroof. That's typically the sunroof size you get in a mid-size truck. And then you have mirrors with the HomeLink system to open up your garage doors, which is really cool. And overall, this is a very nice truck and very competitive to what it competes against. I seriously can't get over how good this Boulder Gray Pearl looks on the Pro4X. Basically blends into the shipping container behind us. And that's not a bad thing. This is a good looking truck. I think it's going to age really well. You can see though that the door panel for a mid-size truck actually opens up really big. I like that a lot. The materials are nice. You basically get the same door card and materials and leather wrap stitch armrest that you would have on the front. A little bit of a storage bin, bottle and snack pocket, and then there's a few different ways that you can move the seats around. But like most mid-sized trucks that are not the Honda Ridgeline, they're pretty tight back here, so you do have to be careful what you try to fit back here. And then sitting behind myself at 5'11", even with this seat, the driver's seat, a little bit further back than I normally would go, I have just a little bit of knee room, which is okay. I don't have any vents though on the center console, and I don't know that I can feel any vents down here, which is unfortunate. It's kind of hit or miss on if a mid-size truck has ventilation back there or not. But you have a map pocket if you're the backseat passenger. A little bit of headroom. There's kind of a hump from the sunroof, and then you have an LED light You can easily open up that physically sliding window. And overall, this isn't too bad for a mid-sized truck, but let's hop out and I'll show you the bed. I think the back of the Pro4X is one of the best looking mid-sized trucks, especially the tailgate, but also the LED taillights. I just think this is a well-designed package. Of course, I would add the black decals to fill in the Frontier, and unfortunately, this has a physical key to lock the tailgate, which is fine, but some of the other mid-sized trucks like the Colorado and the Ranger, when you lock the vehicle, the tailgate locks, but this does not. Thankfully, it is soft dampened. Thankfully, you do have some cutouts to hold your drink, your bowl of chili, and all of your pencils, if that's what you're into. This is already lined, which is pretty cool. It also looks like you could add some attachments to it quite easily for tie-down points. And overall, this is about 40 cubic feet of room. If you do go for the long bed, it is about 50 cubic feet. That measurement comes in from just over 19 inches of height, 44 inches between the wheel wells, 61 between everything that's not the wheel wells, and then overall it's about 5 feet of length. You do have a household style outlet. Unfortunately, like most of those that are not a hybrid, it's only 400 watts. And then like most other mid-sized trucks, you do have tie downs in each corner and some lighting, which is really nice. What do you guys think of the Nissan Frontier bed? Comment below. The passenger side is in the shade, and while the paint is very reflective, if it's in the shade, you really can't see a lot of the pearl flake, which looks so good when this is in direct sunlight. But the door panel opens up large. You have these orange reddish accents. They actually look really good in person. I think on video they sometimes look gimmicky or kind of cheap, but they're not. They actually look awesome in person. Fender speakers, power seats even for the passenger. My backpack seems to be enjoying it. And if the driver gets rowdy, you have a handle to hold on to right there. You also can use the key that you get with this vehicle to lock the glove box. It's average sized, I would say. But with that said, let's come around to the front. I'll pop the hood and I'll show you what the 3.8 liter V6 engine looks like. Under the hood is a 3.8 liter direct injection dual overhead valve train V6 engine. It's pretty stout, makes about 310 horsepower at 6,400 RPM, so it does like to rev. And then it makes about 281 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. It is longitudinally mounted like all other, full-on body-on-frame trucks. But this one, even though it's a V6, you actually have a lot of room in front of it on the accessory drive where the serpentine belt is to work on it. You can see the valve cover, the head if you look down really close. The air induction pathway is really simple. You can see the batteries right there. There's a fuse box. All the reservoirs are easy to identify. And there's a surprisingly decent amount of room to work on this. You can even see the exhaust manifold down there. So for being the big V6, at least compared to the competition, I bet this is pretty easy to work on, in addition to being probably a very reliable vehicle, like a lot of the other Nissan V6s of the past. With that said, let's drop the hood and take it for a drive. Initial driving impressions of the 2026 Nissan Frontier. Let's get up to speed, full throttle. Where I floored it, it really didn't want to re-downshift. It just rode out the gear that we were already in. But anyways, driving this around, it's actually really fun to drive. The slower you go, the heavier the steering feels. The faster you go, the more light it seems and more nimble this truck is. But if you really take a corner fast, you will feel like most other mid-sized trucks. There's a little bit of body roll, but the visibility on the Frontier is one of the better mid-sized trucks. I do have to say though, the most recent truck that I have been in was a 2026 Ridgeline. And where that's a huge mid-sized truck, this, like most of the other ones, does feel a little bit more compact, although not as compact as the first generation. Slowing down, minimal nosedive, handles the corner pretty well for what this thing weighs. And then we can let the VQ engine sing. This 3.8 liter might surprise you. It's not necessarily as quick as you might expect if you are at altitude, where today we are over a mile above sea level, but it sounds fantastic. I love how functional the interior of this vehicle is. You have a lot of ventilation. The Fender speakers sound really good. The wheel is heated 360 degrees and it gets especially hot at the 9 and 3 position. The heated seats get super hot too, hotter than most of the competitors to this class. And then you have cup holders. You have some pretty good storage, pretty decent sized center console, some sunglass storage up top. But overall, this is just a nice driving vehicle. I like it a lot for a mid-sized truck. I think it holds its own. And if you want a truck that feels kind of like how they used to in the mid-2000s, this might be one of the only modern trucks that can give you that feeling. Personally, I recommend you guys test drive one of these for yourself. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But let's get to the private road and see how fast it is doing 0 to 60. 0 to 60 in the 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro4X. I'm actually going to try it in two-wheel drive. Density altitude is about 6,000 feet, so it is down on power about 20%. It may or may not spin the tires, and then traction control is off with the brake rev. Let's see what this thing can do. Okay, a little bit of wheel spin. And true 0 to 60 came in at 9.23 seconds. Not too bad, again, given the fact that we are about a mile above sea level today. My final thoughts of the 2026 Nissan Frontier. Honestly, guys, I actually like this a lot. It feels like an older school midsize truck. It feels a little bit heavy, at least in the steering. It feels powerful and loud, at least in the engine note. And this just looks like a very good off-roader pickup truck. It honestly feels like what all the midsize trucks felt like about 10 years ago. So if you do want a true body-on-frame midsize truck that's not a turbo 4-cylinder, that's not small displacement, this one might be the one for you. Sure, the Pro4X doesn't have class-leading payload, but it does tow really well, about 7,150 pounds. It has an average-sized bed, pretty spacious cabin, maybe a little bit more than some of the competitors, and then with that 31-inch all-terrain tire, this thing is the whole package. And for about $45,000, I think that's dab square in the middle of the competition. This is a pretty cool truck, but the best way to decide if it's the right one for you is for you to go to the dealer and test drive one. So check them out for yourself, test drive the competition, make sure you're buying the right vehicle for you. Don't just take my word for it. I'm just a random person who got access to a camera and a brand new Nissan Pro4X Frontier. So if you guys got anything out of this video, please consider liking it. Comment your thoughts and opinions below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Huge thanks to Rob Green Auto Group in Southern Idaho. I will link them below if you're interested. They sell well below MSRP and they'll ship anywhere in the country. And also huge thanks to our channel sponsor, Lasfit. And until next time, see you guys.